On Sunday, the Chargers took on the Jacksonville Jaguars in a game that they would lose 38-10. And although it was rough to watch, and we did a full recap on the 5 things that we learned in this video, similar to the one we watched last week, we're going to be going through the actual film itself, going through some of the top plays, scoring drives, big yardage plays, flags, overturn calls, all that stuff. We're going to break it down into a much smaller video, and I'm going to walk you through the video itself, the plays that I chose that I found relevant to the game, and kind of talk through what the players are doing, why certain things are occurring, and what they might have done better or worse. But if this is something that you enjoy and you want to see more like it, please like and subscribe. This is going to be a weekly video as well as all the rest of the videos that go up on my channel. And let's not waste any more of your time. Let's go and get right into this. We're going to cut over to this kind of film recap that I put together myself. It's only about 4 minutes long, but by the time we go through each individual play and everything I want to talk through, it's probably going to be a lot longer. But let's go ahead and press play on this right here. So first play we're going to see as the Jaguars hand the ball off to James Robinson. And it's just going to be a pretty simple play as we get going. James Robinson on the left side of the quarterback in Trevor Lawrence hands the ball off. We're going to have a pulling guard right here that's going to take off Joey Bosa as we see them push up to take out the linebackers in Drew Tranquill and Kenneth Murray. And we're going to see the linebackers kind of get pulled this way because all the movement this way, kind of what you're taught as a linebacker myself when I was in high school, is watch the way that the guard is pulling. 90% of the time, that's the way the play is going. So we're going to see right here, Kenneth Murray in the middle of your screen is going to follow this way as he sees the guard pull. But what's actually going to happen is it's a one-on-one tackle with Khalil Mack and their left tackle right here. And it's just going to be about finishing that block. And James Robinson's going to cut left. And then all he has to do is just beat a couple men and Callahan. And at the end of the play here, we do see Derwin James punch the ball out, but they knock it right out of bounds. Pretty solid play, very, very smart to use that guard to kind of hopefully pull the defense out of the direction as you open a big hole on the left side of the line. Now, the next play here, although the Chargers did get dominated pretty heavily in the run game, they still played a pretty solid amount for the most part. Although there was a ton of yards, 150 some yards, they still did very solid against the run. Right here we're going to have circled, I believe this is Sebastian Joseph Day right in the middle of the screen, and he's just going to toss his block to the side and finish the tackle for a loss, I believe so, or at least right at the line of scrimmage. As we see it start, just tosses the center. Well, he doesn't even really toss him. It looks like they're trying to wash out, double team up to linebacker over here on this side. Leaves Sebastian Joseph Day. The guard was supposed to tag him, but he's completely wide open. He's going to tackle Robinson right at the line of scrimmage, a little bit behind, and big excitement. Good thing to see here. Now, on the other side of things, the Chargers started extremely slow on the offense side of things. Lots of flags were holding back when they did have big plays, but there was still some good things to see here and there, and for the most part, I'm going to likely have a video before the Texans game about what's kind of going wrong for the Chargers offense, because I believe there is quite a bit that's preventing them from scoring as much as we all expected. That video I'm not sure exactly when it's going to come out, but there will be a Texans-Chargers preview. Hopefully I can get that video on the offense before the Texans game, because the Texans defense looks like the Chargers might be able to kind of figure some things out. But right here we have a Circle Chargers player. I'm not quite sure who this is. I kind of have a feeling that it's Everett, but I'm not for sure. Ball gets hiked right here, and cutting in, yep, it's Gerald Everett. Just a quick little in route right here, right behind the sticks. You're already kind of pinned deep. Everett comes up with it just barely short of the sticks. And one thing I do kind of want to point out right here, I'm not sure what down we're at, but I want you to notice something. And this is something we're going to cover a lot in that offensive video if I do it. Watch where everyone stops. Right here, we have Herbert about to release the ball already, and we have your running back Eckler already stopped on his route. We have wide receiver right here stopped on his route. Gerald Everett stopped right here before the first down marker. We got someone stopped on here, and the only person we have left is one wide receiver at the bottom of your screen who is continuing their route past the first down. I find that a little bit, like poor management. Joe Lombardi, I feel like I've given a really hard time, and I think he's a pretty solid offense coordinator. he's been a little bit too conservative. And I know there was a tweet earlier mentioning that he had an interview and he said he was a little bit conservative because he wasn't sure how well Herbert was going to be able to play. But Herbert has an arm, and we'll see that later on in this clip. Why is only one player going past the first down? Like, why do we have to make it so that the wide receiver or tight end makes the play for the first down? Herbert can make the first down by himself. Just kind of move it a little bit better. Everett misses the first down by just a little bit. Tough situation there. I don't think that they convert there because their first down was like in the second quarter. Not very good to see. Now, this play right here, we have Trevor Lawrence dropping back into coverage, and as we can kind of see, it almost looks like a man coverage, but it truly isn't, because right here looks more like a man, but you were going to actually see him drop in. It's almost more like a cover 2, cover 3 as things progress, and we see the ball's already out, and we see this big opening. I believe this is where the ball is going to go. Oh, no. Okay, we can cover this in a second here. But everything's kind of dropping back. It looks more like a zone. I'm not sure what zone it is, just because how quick the play progresses. But we have Drew Tranquil right here that's going to cover this kind of flat route. Michael Davis is going to go over the top, and this is where the ball is going to end up. Davis is fast enough that he can kind of contest it. But truly, right here, Kenneth Murray is, moving, and he just completely stops. Now, if Trevor Lawrence isn't under pressure right here, as you can see, he's kind of getting hit, we have a wide open wide receiver right here. And although we have, I believe, Derwin James coming up, maybe this is Derwin, I'm not sure. If he would have got that off like right about here, this is an easy first down. Instead, he goes for the big ball, and we see Nas Adderley, who's right here, just barely misses the interception. If he starts sprinting a little bit sooner, or maybe jumps at just the right time, the ball is put in a little bit different spot. Nas Adderley comes up with his first interception. He barely misses it, though. Excuse me. Now, on this next play, I believe it is a run with James Robinson. And yes, it is. Similar to the exact play we had. There's no pulling guard here, but you're just kind of zoning in right here. I'm not sure. I think this is Chris Rumph. Just misses the tackle as the tackle goes up to block the linebacker. In this scenario, it's safety and Derwin James. I believe this is Chris Rumph. Yep, just missed the tackle, and then James Robinson makes a play on Derwin to get around him, and you get a nice, good set of downs. Now, this play right here is, I believe, the interception. We have Sony Michel down here. Play action. Pretty solid here. Now, we can't see any other routes developing. We do see Gerald Everett right here. You see somebody up here, but nothing really, even from the up high view, nothing was really developing yet. So checking this down is not a bad decision. And the fact is, Herbert puts the ball slightly to the left, but as a running back, you should be able to catch this. I mean, it's just barely to the left, and he's already continuing his route that way. If he would have took one more step, that's an easy catch. Instead, he juggles it, it bounces up, and they end up intercepting it. Herbert's first interception of the game, only interception of the game, and it's just a tough scenario. But the good thing here is, even after Michel's big mishap, and I'm not sure why Michel, I don't want to dig in too deep, but I've been really bothered by Austin Eckler's lack of, diversity in what the game plan's been. It seems like, for the most part, it's just simple. He's in the backfield. He needs to get put out. He needs to get used more, and I feel like he's still being used a little bit too less. I think you put Austin Eckler in that scenario, you might be able to gain like 5 yards. Instead, Sony Michel ends up causing an interception because he can't grab it. But the defense does stand up very well, even with the Jacksonville Jaguars being in a perfect position due to that interception. Right here, we have the defense just doing their job. 3 plays in a row. Play action right here, kind of end around about, I believe this is ETN right here. And defense stands up right there. Kyle Van Noy pushes him out of bounds. The very next play, we're going to have, just pretty simple things going on. A little play action. Pause it right here. Trevor Lawrence sees the pocket breaking down. You have a bunch of pressure right here. And you see, is this Zay Jones 7? I'm not sure. Or maybe Jones is 11. You have both of these guys right here that are kind of getting open, but because of the intense pressure, Lawrence is kind of forced up, and he throws it as he's hit by Derwin James, and he can't get the touchdown because all the pressure over here. And I'm not sure if Bosa's in at this point, or is healthy at this point, I should say. I don't see him on the field right now, but he might have been on the sideline. But the immense pressure early on forces Lawrence up in the pocket, and then Derwin's just able to break free of his block. And honestly, that could have been a touchdown right there if that pressure wasn't there. On this last play right here, we're going to see something very simple again. Just quick little drop back. Everyone's doing kind of out routes, stopping right here. Doubling up, trying to cause some confusion. Chargers do a very good job right here at preventing anything. And we're going to see Zont here at the bottom of your screen. As the play is progressing, this is Asante Samuel Jr. or Zont. Just, make a break on the ball as it's released right here by Trevor Lawrence and just knock it down, similar to what we did last week when he almost got an interception. Zont has been looking extremely good this year. Now, on the other side of the ball, we got Herbert right here under duress and a sack fumble. No, so I want to cover quickly the O-line. Now, as we all know, at this point, Slater is in. But Slater is going to be out for the rest of the season. Huge hit. Jameer Sawyer is going to be stepping in right there. And honestly, I'm pretty confident in the fact that he will be able to step in and do pretty solid. Definitely not Slater level, but at least be enough. Now, with Will Clapp being in for Corey Linsley and, the rest of this O-line not being top level, there's been some breaks in blocking coverage. And this is the exactly what I'm referring to when I say that. Ball gets hiked and almost immediately, Herbert's on his first step back, second step back. Coverage looks good for the most part. You got Slater pushing his man into the center's man. But over here, as we're going to notice, Gerald Everett kind of pushes his man out here, and now he has to come re-engage with Trey Pipkins. And what that's going to do is that's going to cause a little bit of mishap where Herbert is already, completely not even paying attention in the front of this. Herbert's in a scenario where he's likely to get sacked right here. But instead, you have Slater, who pushed his man into the center's man, kind of lost grip of his own man, and he gets up there, forces the fumble, and then, everything collapses. You have 3 of the 4 guys in the D-line completely break in. Just tough situation right here. Now we're going to look at Derwin James right here. And just great break on the ball, almost picks it off, just barely misses it and mad himself. I understand that. That was a great read for him. We're going to have the Jaguars. This is going to be, I believe, the touchdown. And once again, I'm not sure which number this is. I think, okay, so I know what the play this is. So what's going to happen right here is a pretty solid defense for the most part. At the bottom of your screen, you see 2 men locked up pretty well. You got one guy right in the middle of the field and one in the flats that are pretty much covered for the most part, but this is just going to be a great play on the wide receiver. As he breaks on his in route, we're going to see Trevor Lawrence get flushed down. Whether this was planned or not, I'm not sure. If it's not, this is an incredible play, but the pressure forces Lawrence out of the pocket this way, and the wide receiver right here reads it and is going to loop around the cornerback, just perfectly in for a touchdown. Really great play right here, and just perfect pass. That's great work by Trevor Lawrence. Nothing against the Chargers defense right there. Cornerback could have been in a little bit better position, but Trevor Lawrence getting out of the pocket, finding space, having the leg ability to make the defense worry and come up a little bit, and then the wide receiver just knowing to kind of cut back. Perfect ball placement. That was just great on the Jaguars offense. Now, over here, we're going to have Mike Williams' only reception and for a touchdown. One-on-one coverage. Mike Will always going to go up and get this. Perfect. Gets his feet down. That's a great play for him, and it works out pretty well. Now, back on the offense side of things for the Jaguars, for the most part, it was really simple for them. Even when you're doing play actions and there was a good amount of movement, all the routes were simple. We're going to see in-breaking routes, seams, everything very simple, and just guys blocking because of how much damage the Chargers can do. And as we progress, we see the running back come out here in the flats on the top of your screen here. But what we're going to watch right here is just a really good, pre-read. So right in the middle of the screen is where you want to be looking. We have a cornerback and a wide receiver that are indistinguishable by numbers, at least at this point. But Trevor Lawrence is right here, already ready to throw it. And if you can't tell, the wide receiver is currently facing towards the inside of the field. So he's not even looking out towards where his route's going to break towards. He's not ready for the pass at all yet. And within 1 second, the ball's already out, and he still hasn't turned his head. He's turning his head, and he's on his in-breaking route. But Trevor Lawrence makes a really good play here at anticipating the out-breaking route and puts it in a firm spot. Kirk, I believe it's Christian Kirk, makes a good play, gets some extra yards after the catch. That's a really good play on Trevor Lawrence. Now, back on the offense side of things for the Chargers, we got Justin Herbert right here. Little draw play. So what I want to talk about right here, and I'm not even going to talk about the missed face mask. I mean, when things are going so fast, you're going to miss things like that, especially with how quick it was. But in this situation, the Chargers on 1st and 10 got a good amount of yards. I believe it was like second and a few yards, second and 2, second and something like that. And they end up holding them back again, brings it to second and long. I think it was like second and 16 or something like that. And this is the play that they call. On 2nd and 16, Joe Lombardi calls a draw play, which isn't terrible. It can work for you. But deep in your territory, they're already getting a ton of pressure on you throughout the whole game, rushing and passing. And you call a draw play right here. Eckler has no time, face mask right there, whatever. And he's brought down. And I just think that's a bad play call on 2nd and super long. I get it, you're trying to make it 3rd and a little bit manageable, but in this situation, it's still 3rd and 12. I think if you're going to run into that situation, which arguably is okay, and, a draw in some situations is not a bad play call, except for the fact that you got to realize how much pressure you're getting, and especially with the quarterback you have, let him sling it. But maybe a little bit different of a play call could have got you in a little bit better position. Now, for the Chargers, it works out because you have Justin Herbert. He finds Jalen Guyton on this play, and incredible pass. Guyton's in the middle right here, if you don't know. Herbert's going to anticipate it right here. You pretty much run 4 verts in this situation. It's 3rd and super long. You see where the ball was like right here. Here's your first down. It's 3rd and super long. Pretty much running 4 verts. You got wide receivers on the bottom side running deep. One on the top side, I think that might be Mike Williams. And then one that's kind of stopping in the flats. Maybe he can salvage some yards if you don't make space down. But right here, Herbert is currently releasing the ball. This is Herbert. And you have a safety over top, a safety right here, and your cornerback who's slightly behind Guyton. And what Herbert does is he just anticipated, similar to the play we just watched with Trevor Lawrence, great anticipation on knowing Guyton's speed, knowing that he's going to be able to catch us, and throwing it on the inside where only Guyton can get it. So as we see, it's thrown, and here's the ball coming in right here. Perfect spot. Safety can't get to it. Cornerback's too slow to get to it himself. Right on the inside. Guyton comes down with it. Boom. Just perfect spot to get that huge set of yards right after a tough situation on 3rd and long, but they make it work. Now, sadly, the Chargers don't really make anything work out of this. Good little pass here. You get Palmer a nice first down. You get within the goal line. They would end up kicking a field goal in that situation, and they just wouldn't get it rolling. Couple of run plays, just nothing worth showing. But, really good job getting the ball moving down there. And when you get in that goal line situation, running the ball with Austin Eckler and those guys is a smart decision. They just couldn't get it done. I'm not opposed to any of the play calls that were made when they were inside the goal line. Maybe I could have showed those to walk through it. But, for the most part, outside of that 2nd and super long on a draw play, I do like all the play calls that were made there, and it works for them until they get a field goal. Now, back on defense side of things, we're going to have Trevor Lawrence here hand the ball off. 4th and 1, this play is. And the Chargers defense, after standing up the Jaguars multiple times on, and goal downs, like 1st goal, 2nd goal, 3rd goal, and forcing them to make field goals. On 4th and 1, the Jaguars decide to go for it at the 50-yard line, maybe even the 49-yard line. And the Chargers just got to get a stop. So what you're going to see is you have a heavily loaded left side of the field. So if we count, we got outside of the center, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys over here. And then on defense, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys right here. So it's evenly split. But what we're going to see is, I think it's the guard, maybe the tackle, is going to swing or pull, whatever you want to call it, pull around, and then it's going to become 6 on 5, and it's going to put it in a scenario where the pulling guy, I think is the pulling guy, is going to go one-on-one with Asante Samuel Jr. And Asante's not going to be able to do anything because he's so much smaller. And the one saving grace that this play could have had is all on Drew Tranquill. He has to make a read right here. If Drew Tranquill goes this way, this play is what it is. It's a touchdown or definitely a first down, but it becomes a touchdown for 50 yards untouched. But if Tranquill can go this way, it becomes 6-on-6, and it's all about just beating one guy. But as we see, play starts this way. Tranquil's going to read it this way as, Lawrence looks this way. Completely misses the pulling guard, which, as mentioned earlier, 90% of the time, your pulling guard's going to go the way of that. And I say that in high school where I played, at least in the state there was a lot of running, and that normally means that in the NFL it's a lot more complex, but at least for me, that's what that always meant. Misses the pulling guard right here. You're going to have this guy washed down in Drew Tranquil. By the time he realizes it's already too late, and Trevor Lawrence turns, hands it off right here, and as you can see right here, the only two guys that could do anything right now are Bryce Callahan and Asante Samuel Jr. And as you can see, number 17 right here is going to box in Callahan, and that's 1-on-1, a big old guard against Asante. And Asante's not going to be able to do anything, completely gets washed out. James Robinson doesn't even get touched. Big 50-yard touchdown. And that was, if the momentum wasn't already way in their favor, that was a huge reason why. Now, Chargers end up going 3 and out on the next possession. Jaguars get a pretty decent, rhythm going again. And this is going to be a touchdown right here to 13. I think that's Christian Kirk, if I remember correctly. And pulls in James Robinson, so you have to worry about, a little pitch or whatever. It's also going to pull, as you can see, Drew Tranquil's calling out this motion. It's going to pull Derwin James over here, which is going to pull some pressure off. And now you just got some one-on-ones over here. And what's going to happen when you're stacked up wide receivers, it's going to cause a lot of confusion. Who's going to go in? Who's going to go out? Especially when you're manned up, it causes a lot of confusion. And we see they both go out. And what's going to happen almost, even though they're running a route, they're almost blocking in a way as he kind of boxes him out. And he boxes him out. He cuts out. Now Michael Davis is in front of him, which is the right position. But because of that slight box out, we have, I'm not sure who this is slightly behind, and just great ball placement, gets 2 feet in. That's touchdown. I think this is a 2-point conversion. Similar situation, stacking guys. Christian Kirk looks like he's about to block, so it might be a run. Freezes your guy just enough. Freezes Michael Davis just enough to think that's a run, so he's not ready. And what that does is allows Christian Kirk to seal in the cornerback number 2. I think that is Nas Adderley, and just throws it to the tight end. Gets a 2-point conversion. And as we're coming to the end, it's all kind of just quick things here. Coming to the last couple drives here, Justin Herbert dropping back, making a good little read here. So what's happening here, I think this might be like later down. You have everyone close off. Even Gerald Everett, he might make a break here, but not quite. And you got, I think there's Williams, who, Herbert could make this throw. But you have the safety over top that's just enough to prevent you from making that throw. Now, if Mike Williams knows or the play is called to cut out, then you can make that throw, but it doesn't look like he makes that, makes the read to go out, or that was a play call was. So you have Palmer right here in the middle, and Herbert's just going to make a really good read, try to get the yards that he can, and what happens is Palmer just makes a really good play to make it all the way. A big yard gain. Palmer gets a ton of yards there. I think he had 99 yards, so good for Palmer. And the rest of that, they get no score out of it. They go for a touchdown. They end up not getting it because no point in getting a field goal there. They failed on 4th down. Jaguars get the ball back. They're just going to punch another touchdown right here. We're going to be looking right here. Michael Davis has pretty good coverage here. He has the inside, but he just doesn't have eyes in the quarterback, which is going to put him in a tough situation where it's either he gets a penalty or he just throws his hands up hoping something works. It doesn't work. Gets his feet in. I think that's Zay Jones. Gets his feet in. And then back on offense, this should be the last possession for the Chargers, or maybe it's second last. The last possession, the Chargers look really good. And although they didn't score, and I will say it really looked like they got 2 feet in, but it doesn't matter truly. 17 points versus 10 points. You still lose by a ton, so whoop-de-doo. But it did look like they got feet in. I don't even remember what this play is, why I have it on here. I'm trying to remember. Maybe this was a D or a D-line thing. We're gonna watch what this. Oh, this is. I know what this play is. First, let's pick apart the offensive line. Now, this is late game. Slater's injured. We have Storm Norton here. This should be Filer, Will Clapp, Zion Johnson, and Trey Pipkins. Now, as the play starts, immediately Filer's already beat. You have blitzers in the linebacker here, and this should be the safety. Storm Norton hasn't even touched his guy yet because you have a tight end blocking up. But even if Filer seals his guy on the inside of your screen, Joshua Kelly is now 1-on-2. He has to try to stop one of these guys. Now, he does make a pretty solid block, honestly. He kind of blocks both of them, sticks his leg out enough to slow down the one guy, and does enough. Now, Filer does fail his block, so Herbert's under complete duress here. But he gets the ball out because Herbert, he's been doing it all year long, preventing sacks. But sadly, we're going to be looking right here. This is where Guyton, and I'm not sure how it transpires. It looks like his foot almost gets stuck in the ground and bends like sideways as he's falling and as the Jags defender rolls across him. But this is his injury where he tears his ACL. You see his foot kind of gets stuck right here and he trips. And we see a little bit of that inflaction. I don't know what the word is. Go watch Brian Sutor or Sutter, I think his name is. He's super good at, if there's an injury, a major injury like that, picking it apart and knowing what to do. I would recommend going checking him out. But we see his knee kind of come in a little bit as the defender falls, and I think it's the inside leg right here. So as he falls on it, he lands right on it. Yep. And he ends up tearing his ACL out for the rest of the season. But that is it. That is all of the film that I kind of wanted to cover. Now, as mentioned, this game was a massive blowout, so there wasn't a ton to cover for the Chargers, as well as just not a lot to cover, because for the most part, it was just clock getting chewed up in that second half, which really sped the game up a ton. But, what did you guys think? Do you enjoy this content? This is the second time I've done this film recap, and I don't think this one was as smooth as last week's, primarily because there just wasn't as much to really deep dive into, just because how, clean cut the score was. There wasn't really anything to pick apart. There was no major swing or anything like that. But did you guys enjoy this content? I would really like to hear some things back in return, so I know what I can add to this to make this better, because I do enjoy kind of breaking down film. It's something that is really intriguing and not a whole lot of people really do. But as mentioned earlier, I'm going to do an offensive film breakdown of this and why the Chargers offense really isn't working how it really can. That should be coming in the next few days or right around the Texans game. We're going to have the Texans versus Chargers preview. That should be up by tomorrow. Good news. Look out for that. There's going to be a lot to talk about in that preview, just a ton to talk about, and hopefully some players can get rolling in that scenario. But if you guys enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. It truly means the world to me. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I cannot do that without your guys' help. And as always, I hope it taught some today. I know there's a lot of film stuff that we're breaking down, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to, fully explain as well as, interpret the right way and understand it. But I hope I taught something. Hope made you smile, made you laugh. This someone's really important to me. Affects most of the day in a great way, because every single day can be a great day if we all just put in the effort. And I truly mean every day. Even when bad things happen, just try to put a smile on your face and try to make someone's day better. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.